Get excited. I have a very special guest today, Jennifer from Jenny Sue Makeup. You can find her on a blog, jennysuemakeup.com, or a YouTube channel. Jennifer is our contributing beauty editor over on Style at a Certain Age. She is a working makeup artist.
Yep.
She has done at least 500 weddings, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I've lost count, but yes, over the past 15 years, yes, probably close to 500.
Jennifer has been featured on CNN and Wired Magazine, and we are so excited to have you here. Not only today, but Jennifer is going to be making a monthly appearance. So, a very warm welcome.
Yay! Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes,
and this is going to be fun. I can't wait to be on here once a month.
It really is.
Talking all about things beauty and makeup.
That's right, because it's so important. And we're kicking it off because we know in real life and on social media, we see so many mistakes that especially mature women are making. So we wanted to cover that. We're going to talk about 5 bad mistakes that we're making. But why do you think women of a certain age, mature women, why do you think that we are making some of the mistakes with our makeup?
So one of the reasons that I think women are making mistakes with their makeup is, number one, they're overwhelmed. So they get overwhelmed with all of the information about beauty styles and trends, or so many products on the market.
Right.
We know the beauty industry has really blown up.
Yes.
There's products for every little thing on our face. And women get so overwhelmed, they just don't do anything at all. So it's kind of the same.
Or a decade.
Yeah, or a second decade.
Or
yeah.
a decade.
Yeah.
Because
they're doing what they
perhaps
did 10 years ago.
We thought we looked amazing in the 80s.
And you probably did.
We probably did.
Yeah.
But that was quite a long time
That was
ago.
then, and this is now. And so, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you get stuck in a decade doing things that worked then, but they're, now not the same trend and don't work. And as we get older, things change. It's just something you have to embrace, but you also have to accept that change and work with it with different products to enhance your look.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up because we do change decade by decade. And what do you think is one of the things that happens with our skin when we hit a certain age? What do you find?
Well, I find that just over time, loss of volume in our face. We tend to get a little thinner in the face, lose a little bit of volume in the skin. It's not as plump as it used to be. You lose a lot of natural color. Like, you think about little newborn babies. They're always so cute, and they've got these pink cheeks because their circulation is brand new.
Right.
We tend to lose a little bit of that, so we have to inject that back into our faces as we get older.
With makeup.
With makeup, yeah.
It does. It really, really does help. So, yes. So, and I'm really glad that you pointed out because when I walk into like Sephora or I go into my favorite retailer and I just see all of the makeup and the skincare lined up, it is overwhelming. It really, really is. So I completely get that. So if that is you, we are going to make your life just a little bit easier because we are going to narrate all of those products and bring it home. So here's an example of the first one, which is eyebrows. Very, very common.
Very common.
What's going all wrong here?
So what's going all wrong here with the brows is actually the wrong choice of eyebrow product and the wrong shade and getting a little too heavy-handed with it, which can tend to read very harsh on the face.
It really does. So we're going one or the other. So either too little or too harsh. But this really is too harsh. And it's definitely not going with my skin tone.
No, it's not.
So how are we going to fix that? And how do most women of a certain age want to go about fixing their eyebrows?
Okay, so for the eyebrows, especially if they're going a little too thin, a little too sparse, but you want to pump them back up, but you don't want to go the mistake route with them being very dark, one of the best ways to do it, and to do it very easily, is to actually pick an eyebrow product that's right for you, either a really skinny brow pencil or even like an eyeshadow. And I tend to tell women to try to look at the hair that's growing on their natural face and to really try to mimic that color. Not really so much the hair on your head, but try to find a shade of brow product that matches the actual hair on your eyebrows and go with that. And so if you use just an angled brush, like I did on Beth today, if you use an angled brush with a matching eyeshadow and just do light strokes to fill in the spots where you can see skin showing through, just to add a little bit of volume and hair there, that's one of the easiest ways to go about fixing that problem.
So I'm also the guinea pig in the after and how we are correcting it. And I absolutely love how you shaped my eyebrows, kept it very, very natural. You used an eyebrow color, and I love that. And I think that was a really good point when you said that we should look at the eyebrow color not the color of our hair, because the color of our hair does change. So
yeah, it does. So try to mimic the shade of the natural hair growth that's on the face. You want to work with what you have on your face, not against it.
So eyebrows very important because they frame the face.
Yep.
But what is another common mistake that we are making?
So sometimes, especially I see it in terms of eyeliner, some women tend to go a little too heavy-handed with eyeliner because that's what they were doing maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
And the eyeliner just tends to be too heavy, and they're rimming the top and the bottom of the eye bed. And so it's actually receding the look of the eye and making them look smaller.
Right. And you can see that in the example where we have a very heavy hand above and below. But honestly, we used to wear that in the 80s.
Oh, for sure.
That was very, very common when we did that. So
even in the 90s, sometimes we did the black rimmed eye. It was a thing.
So it makes our eyes recede. So how are we going to repair that? Because we do want our eyes to show. We do want to have some eyeliner, right?
Oh, for sure. No, I think eyeliner is definitely very beneficial for the face. It's just you just don't want to go too dark because, again, our features tend to lose a little volume in the face, so it gets a little thinner. So we don't want anything too heavy, harsh, or dramatic. But we do want to pump up the look of that lash line because it will make our eyes pop. So with Beth in the after look that we did, I used a nice deep bronzy brown. And so the bronzy brown was really pretty with your blue eyes because it made them pop and come to life. So just keep that eyeliner nice and tight along the lash line and then smudge it with an eyeshadow brush.
A great tip. So what I mostly skip lining my lower lash, but would you recommend maybe just adding a little bit?
Sure, you can add a little bit. I'm just not a fan of doing something really dark on top and on bottom because it does give gives the look of a receded tiny eyeball, and we want our eyes to pop.
Going down the face, so we've done eyebrows and our eyes, so eyeliner. Concealer, that seems to be an area where we can be paralyzed because we don't want to enhance our wrinkles, but yet we're typically being very dark on the inside of our eye, kind of purplish. So how do we attack that?
Okay, so under eye circles are definitely a thing. Our skin tends to thin underneath the eyes, so that gives the appearance of them being more hollow or being darker. And so with concealer, you're wanting to fix that by making the skin actually look thicker. That's kind of what you're doing with concealer is to make that skin look thicker because it looks healthier and more vibrant. The biggest issue is not getting the right color. If you get the wrong color, it doesn't matter how much it's covering it up. We want to take our concealer and find a color that actually matches more closely to our actual skin tone. Light to medium skin tones like a peach or a pink kind of base to a concealer will help brighten that under eyes if they have purple or bluish tones. Then if you have really dark skin, you want to go with something like a deep apricot base or something with a little bit more orange base, and that's going to brighten up those under eyes. But keep your concealer closer to match your skin tone in your foundation rather than going too light. Too light's just not right.
Okay, well, what about a lot of the younger beauty bloggers? They do the big triangle. Would you recommend that?
To where to apply your concealer, you really need to take a look at your bare face and where you see your hollows and the darkness and just cover those areas up. You do not need to go past the dark areas.
So that's a really good point. And that's why so many women, especially when they think that they need to cover their crow's feet, they really don't. You really just need to cover those areas that are discolored. So good point. Moving along, so the next area where we tend to make a mistake is our blush. What are we doing wrong?
Some of the things I see with blush are the wrong color choice again. Some women are still trying to do the stripe from the 80s and the 70s and the discos where it's just really harsh and just it's stripy. It looks stripy or too dark of a color. So the way that you can fix that is definitely use bronzer. If you're not used to wearing bronzer, do a little bit around the perimeter of the face to warm up the skin tone.
I don't typically use bronzer, but Jennifer used bronzer, and I think it looks lovely. It really does.
Yeah, you just want to use a little bit of bronzer on the perimeter of the face to sculpt. You can do like there's like a 3 or an E shape around the face that I typically do to kind of sculpt, but just a little bit of bronzer makes a big difference. And really blend it out towards the ear. It's not a stripe, but just blend it kind of towards the ear to give the face almost like a little facelift.
Right.
But blending is key when it comes to blush.
Well, and that's one of the things that I've learned is when at the very beginning, maybe I am a little heavy-handed, but if I come back with a brush and I blend, so whether that's on my, my cheeks or my eyes or whatever, but blending really is kind of the secret.
It is definitely the key when it comes to blush.
Secret
blend.
sauce.
I tell women if you think you've blended enough, blend some more. You've never blended enough.
There you go. So last but certainly not least, because I think lips are really important and we get a lot of information or maybe a lot of no's of what we cannot do when we hit a certain age. So what do you see us doing wrong with our lips? And then we'll talk about what we can do to correct that.
The color choice when it comes to lips. If you're wearing a lipstick product that is too dark for your skin tone and too matte.
That used to be so popular too. If you're stuck in one of those decades where, remember all the brown makeup and this fair skin used to sport brown lipstick?
Yeah, it was the thing. Brown lipstick was a thing, and it's still a thing with some skin tones.
Yes.
But then, Beth and I both agree. Wear what you want, wear what you like, what you feel comfortable in. I'm just saying that for beneficial as we get older, a deep matte like brown lipstick, it's kind of aging. It's not benefiting our skin tone and making us look nice and bright.
Right. And we want to look the best version of ourselves at any age, but especially as we age. So let's take a look how you did correct my lips. So this is very on trend right now. So what color is this? And you didn't even line my lips for this look.
I didn't. So the way to correct it is to actually, if you want your lips to appear more voluminous and have a little bit more fullness, you should actually switch to a lipstick that is more creamy or satiny or definitely a gloss. And we did a gloss with Beth today. We did a NYX Butter Gloss. I love the NYX Butter Glosses. They're one of my favorite inexpensive products. When the light catches the reflection of a gloss, it gives the illusion of a fuller, more healthy, and youthful lip. I think it turned out beautifully.
I love it. And I like a glossy lip because it's also very hydrating too.
Yeah.
Which I definitely a must in my book. One more time, we have a side-by-side of all the mistakes that we made and how we can correct them to look modern, fresh, and relevant.